Leap of Fate podcast fans. Welcome to this week's episode with yours truly, Randy Silver. As always, the Leap of Fate is around overcoming adversity, teaching life lessons, helping you understand how you can be the best person for yourself, whatever aspect of life that may be in. This week, my guest is Susan Bratton. Susan, say hi or wave to the fans.
Greetings, beautiful people.
Yeah, greetings. Happy Monday. She is an intimacy expert to millions of people. So today, based off of your guys' crowdsourced ask, we're going to talk about sex, intimacy, dating, relationships, marriage, all goes with it. Why? Why is that what we're talking about this week? It's because when I put out my podcast last month around myself dating during the pandemic, you guys loved it. You girls loved it. Thank you so much. I'm glad that my highs and lows of my dating experience are something that you guys are very interested in. And honestly, like in terms of viewership, hours listened to, it's one of my top performing podcasts in such a short amount of time. So thank you so much. And you guys reach out to me all over the socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that good, and ask me, hey, Randy, can you bring someone on who's intimacy expert? I actually have some questions I'd love to ask people. I'd love to ask her to be able to talk about it. So I have about 15, 20 crowdsourced questions we're going to go over today around intimacy, sex, all that goes with it. And then Susan's going to talk about herself. Susan, to give you guys a background, Susan, she's a best-selling author and publisher of 34 books. One more time. 34 books. That's impressive. In programs including Sexual Soulmates, Relationship Magic, Revive Her Drive, Ravish Him, Steamy Sex Ed, The Passion Patch, and more. She's been featured on CNBC, The Today Show, as well as being on ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC. So she's a rock star. She's an expert. We're about to give you guys, we're going to drop some knowledge bombs today around everything around intimacy for you guys to have some fun. And for me to obviously learn based off my dating life as well. So before we bring Susan in, just want to say again, thank you to all my Loft fans out there, Leap of Fate fans, Ride and Die. Thank you so much for all you guys provide. Please do like and subscribe. Apple, Spotify, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good, especially all the different YouTube videos that we've been putting out there. Thank you so much for all you guys do and provide me. Again, I love your guys' feedback. It helps us grow the brand, helps me grow Leap of Fate, and helps me understand what you guys want to hear. And that's why Susan's on today. So with that being said, Susan, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Randy. I'm very happy you picked me as your intimacy expert. It's interesting. I started out 15 years ago teaching passionate lovemaking techniques because I had my own renaissance in my own marriage after a decade, and realized that learning sex techniques actually makes you a better lover. Bing, 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 bing. Oh my God, light bulb moment. And I wanted to devote the rest of my life to helping other people have great techniques as well. And then I realized, okay, it's not just enough to teach people techniques. I actually have to teach them communication skills. So then I started writing communication skills.
Oh, wow.
And then what I realized was, oh, well, a lot of people actually have health issues. It could be, dryness, ED. It could be other issues that affect their libido. And so I got into sexual biohacking and started teaching people how to essentially have ageless sexuality, because I'm 60 this year and I'm having the best sex of my life by far. I'm finally getting good at it.
This 40 years of experience.
Perfect. Exactly. 40 years of experience. So if you can keep yourself in good shape, you should be able to have great sex till the day you die. And then I realized, okay, most people, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't fix traumas, although I get into that kind of stuff. Mostly what I do is I'm the plus up, I'm the inspiration. I give people really good ideas about how to have more fun with sex, because people kind of get in a rut. They find their one go-to thing, and then they just do that over and over again. And that's what leads to the monotony of monogamy and bedroom boredom and not growth. And your sexual growth is the same. It's the other side of the coin of your personal growth. They are one and the same. And that's another thing that I learned, was that out of 100 people, maybe 15% of them, 15 out of 100 really care about their sex life, are willing to fight for their sex life. It's amazing how many people just kind of squander it, or they can't get over the shame, or they've been repressed, or they're with a partner who has problems, or whatever, or they don't have a partner, and they're not willing to really explore solo pleasuring. And so then I realized, okay, what I'm looking for are what I call the people who are sexual seekers, the people for whom their sex life and their sexuality is important to them. And they understand that by cultivating their sexuality, they're actually cultivating their creativity, their self-expression, their power, their lust for not just sex, but their lust for life.
Yeah, I completely get what you're saying.
Them's my peoples, them's lust for lifers.
And honestly, I would say I'm in that realm. Like, I guess a lot. I don't open up on myself a lot on this podcast so that people speak, but this is going to be something I'm open up with to help people out there because they feel the same way. It's like, if I'm not having consistent sex in my life, I definitely notice it has an effect on my mental ability, my physical ability. I definitely feel like some days I get home, like I'm in my bedroom, I'm just laying by myself. I'm just like, damn, I kind of wish I had maybe not sex, but that girl I could cuddle with, or the intimate other, because it just makes me have those endorphins pop out. I'm just happier with that.
Definitely. I mean, that's another interesting thing about sexuality, is that it's actually very healthy. I recently read a report on the fact that people who have regular sex and orgasms have longer telomeres. And telomeres are the little arms that your cells use to replicate themselves over and over and over again. So you have a long life. So good sex is great in the short term. It reboots your nervous system. It gives you lots of oxytocin and other feel-good neurotransmitters and body chemicals. It grounds you, but it also helps you extend your health span. So there are many, many reasons to pursue it. If people pursued great sex the way they pursued their exercise, I know I work out every day. It was so funny when we got together, I was like, oh, this is a video. Well, shit, hang on. I got to go put on some lipstick, because I had just literally worked out, and I try to work out every day now. And it just makes me feel so good. I try to have sex every day too, if I can.
Well, you should go to America's Got Talent. Your quick change is fantastic.
Got to fluff up my hair and get it out of a ponytail. And
Well, with that being said, I think that's a good way to land. I would love to dive into some of these questions, give you opportunity to share the knowledge that you have with everybody else. So I have my computer right here. So I'm going to read the questions that people reached out. Again, reach out to us on Leap of Fate on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, if you ever have questions and whatnot. For this first question, this person asked to be anonymous. So I'm just going to use John Doe for question number 1. John said, hey, Randy, thank you so much for the opportunity to ask this question. The question I have today is, I don't last long in bed. It's definitely creating issues between my partner and I need to get better at it. What are some techniques or some knowledge that I can do to last longer to make sure I can pleasure her the way that she wants? Yeah. I think that's a very common question that many guys have.
Yeah. It is about 1 in 4 men say that they would like to last longer in bed. It's called premature ejaculation, but I mean, I think there are some people who can maybe not even penetrate before they ejaculate. But there are guys that can last a minute or 2 or 3 or 4 minutes. And then most guys want to last even longer than they already do, no matter what that is.
Yeah.
And what happens is that guys end up masturbating very quickly when they're young, and then that gives them kind of a trigger reflex. And that there's a very small percentage of men who have what you would consider to be a physical issue, where their penis is so sensitive that all my other tricks don't work. But what's interesting is that they're actually doing Botox into the glands of the penis now for people who have, for like a nerve disruptor. And I always say, if you've tried everything else that I'm about to say and it doesn't work for you, try that, because that could help you. But for most guys, it's learning about how to slow down and understand where your point of no return is. And one of the programs that I publish is called Multi-Orgasmic Lover for Men. And it teaches a technique called the me breath. And I'm going to give you a URL so you can learn more about this. I did a series with, it's at Freedom Audios, because what I like to do is I like to tell people that it's good to have ejaculatory choice, to be able to come when you want to, or when she wants you to, or your partner wants you to. And you can, it is a learned skill. And the me breath is a technique that is a body-based technique that uses a combination of breath and a squeeze of the PC muscle and a pelvic rocking that works both practicing during masturbation, and then when you're making love, you can use this technique. So the me breath is something that's really helped a lot of guys. And then I also have a lot of guys who feel like their issue is performance anxiety. And for performance anxiety, I have an ebook with 3 techniques that are really good to overcome performance anxiety. And it's called Get Hard Instantly on Command, even though it should be called 3 Techniques for Premature Ejaculation. I don't know why we called it one thing and not the other, but that's at gethardbook.com. And that's really good. And then interestingly enough, I think I might have it right here.
And just FYI, everybody, all the links will, however you're listening or watching this, will be in the bio. So that way you can just click it and go to the respective links.
Right. Are you going to remember what they all are?
I'll go back and watch this when I edit. I'll be able to have it.
Oh, good. Thank you. So I also carry in my store a supplement from my friend, Dr. Judson Brandeis, and it's called Pre-Long. And it's essentially for men who have performance anxiety. And the main ingredient in it, interestingly enough, is a particular type of St. John's wort, which is what's called an anxiolytic or an anti-anxiety. And this supplement, the guys who have had a lot of premature ejaculation problems have had really good success with this particular supplement. Honestly, it takes about, I'd say, a good 3 months to kick in. You have to be like committed. You have to be one of those people who's like, I can take a vitamin every day. But if you can, then that's another thing you can do. So you kind of have to decide, is your issue that you've been masturbating too fast, too long, and you don't know where your point of no return is, and you can't claw yourself back from going over the edge? Is it anxiety, or is it a combination of those things? And then choose the kind of remedy path. But what I can tell you is that I have helped thousands and thousands of men gain ejaculatory choice with the me breath technique, the pre-long, and those 3 techniques in the Get Hard book. So, don't worry about it. Just do the work.
I love that. Just like anything else out there, you got to put the work in to make sure you can last longer. And then this follow-up question I had. So what about like a Rogan or like the swipe type of stuff? Do you think that stuff work, or is it along the same lines of what you're talking about?
Yeah, Promescent is the most common brand of delay spray or delay wipes. And I think those are very good. And I recommend using those as like essentially a crutch until you learn the me breath, or you use the techniques, or you try pre-long, or the combination. Because in all honesty, numbing yourself out from anything isn't the end game. You want to be, because what a woman wants most, and let me also preface this, that I am a gender spectrum person. I support everyone's gender expression. But when I talk about sex, I usually talk about it in the man, woman, or masculine, feminine, because the polarity is a thing. And also the fact that you're either born into an XX or XY chromosome body. So you're either a vulva owner or a penis owner. So I generally find it's just easier to talk about things in the male, female, though I support all expression of gender. And when you are with a partner and you're holding back, and you're thinking about your grandma's underwear, or roadkill, or you've wiped a delay spray on, or you're, strategizing, or you're catastrophizing, or whatever you're doing that's not being present with your partner, you're robbing them of the connection that is one of the most beautiful parts of sexuality and intimacy and passionate lovemaking. My style of sex, if you will, is passionate lovemaking techniques, conscious, heart-connected lovemaking. I like to teach people how to transform having sex into making love. And making love means you're right there in the moment, passionately present, playing off of each other. And when you numb anything out, that takes away from connection. So that's why I like the me breath
Mm,
technique, the pre-long anti-anxiety, and what's interesting about the stay hard, the anti-anxiety techniques in the Get Hard book is that they are also techniques that bring you into presence. And when you're present and you can sustain pleasure and it doesn't make you come too fast, when you feel like, okay, I can just last as long as I need to, I can stay. I mean, every once in a while, sure, you go off earlier than you wanted
yeah,
to.
fair enough.
Sometimes it feels really, really good, But what I like about gaining ejaculatory choice is that it allows you to let go and not only feel the pleasure, but let your partner see the pleasure they're giving you. When
Yeah.
you can't do that, and all that you're doing is wanting them to show you pleasure, that's like only half the equation. And then it's like, okay, now I've got to feel performance anxiety, so I have to show you pleasure, but you're not showing me any pleasure. You're just like all uptight and in your head, but I've got to moan for you, so your ego is salved. Screw that, I'll have sex with somebody else, right? That's what happens when you're not able to show that pleasure. So one of the things that I teach is a tuning fork technique with Jim Benson, the creator of the multi-orgasmic lover for men program, the me breath. And the tuning fork technique is that essentially, you know how a tuning fork works. When you have two tuning forks, you hit one against a hard object and it starts to vibrate.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you hold it next to the other tuning fork and the other tuning fork vibrates too. That's how lovers are. When I'm turned on, it turns you on. When you're turned on, it turns me on. When we're both turned on, we turn each other on even more.
I love that.
I'm getting turned on right now, aren't you?
A little bit. I might need to take 5. No. So I think that's a great, I think we can move on. I think we got the answer to that question. So thank you.
So too. Yeah.
So next question, this is from a girl. She said I can use her name. So Jessica, thank you for submitting this question. Jessica said, hey, Randy, I have a question about watching porn. My boyfriend really likes to watch it. However, I don't like to watch it. And I'm not the biggest fan of knowing that he's watching it and pleasuring himself while we're together. Is this something that is common, or is this something that I can get into, or just anything around that would be some a bit of advice? So again, Jessica, thank you for asking that question. I think this is probably a question you get a lot as well.
Yeah. So Jessica, I'm with you, girlfriend. First of all, from a professional perspective, I feel generally that porn is a media business that preys on men for the most part, and that women are getting more and more sucked into it. Men are biologically wired to need to masturbate every day because they have to keep their sperm, their semen fresh. They're kind of like, their biological imperative is to be ready to have sex with us when we're ready, because we go on as women a 28-day cycle. We run with the moon. And so our fertile window is usually around the full moon or during, 9 days after the end of our period, when we go into our fertility window, our 5-day fertility window. And that's when we're the horniest. So guys are horny every day. If they're healthy, they wake up with a too true, right?
Yeah,
but
true.
if you're healthy, you wake up with a hard on, a raging hard on every morning, and you'd love your girlfriend to wake up and jump on you and have sex with you and be, really excited to do so. And for women, we're much more inscrutable. It's hard to tell when we're going to want to have sex, and it could be at any time. So guys have to be ready, and they have to keep their sperm fresh. And so they're kind of like, they just want to masturbate. And so the porn business was essentially built to be a masturbatory tool for men. And so what it does is it visually helps men ejaculate. And the problem with that is that it's not really about heart-connected, passionate lovemaking techniques. It's not about the woman. As a matter of fact, Time magazine recently quoted a study that said that 96% of a random sample of 350 porn clips showed that they were degrading to women. Mm-hmm. So the problem is that our men are growing up with their eyes filled with examples of sex that degrades women. So not only do I not I don't think that you can dissuade your male-bodied partners from watching porn. But what I think you can do is persuade them to become passionate lovers and to understand the difference between the two. So one of the things that I've created is a video collection partnered with my girlfriend Jaya, who actually was just on the Goop new sex series. And it's called the Steamy Sex Ed Video Collection. And essentially, it's 8 videos that teach over 200 heart-connected, passionate love-making techniques. So you can actually look at that with your partner and be like, oh, that looks good. Oh, I would have never thought of that. Will you try that on me? Oh, I'd love to have you try that on me. Okay, close your eyes and I'm going to follow along and I'm going to tell you what I'm watching and I'm going to do it to you and you tell me what you like and you don't like. I mean, it's really a good way that lovers can learn skills together, which is super important for keeping the new relationship energy hot in the bedroom, is trying new things together, not falling into that rut. And so I think number one, if you don't like porn, don't watch it. Number two, let him watch it by himself and don't try to get him not to because he really likes it and it's important to him. Number three, learn together some techniques and that will help you with all this kind of confluence of issues.
I love that part number 3, where it's almost like you're saying make it interactive. By you guys being together laying next to each, you're going to feel the chemistry, the hot and steamy, and he's not going to need to think about or want to watch porn because you guys are making it together.
That's right.
Exactly. A real way.
Yeah. Yeah. You're way sexier, Jessica. You're way sexier than the actresses on porn. The actresses on porn are fitting into a very limited window of what the director wants, where what's inside you right now is an incredible sexual goddess. And she just wants to come out and be ravished and ravish and have orgasms and have deep connection. And those are learned skills. So just begin together.
Awesome. Love that. Susan, thank you so much. Jessica,
Good.
thank you so much for the question.
Yeah.
On to the next one. This one's from a gentleman named Kevin. Kevin said, hey, Randy, I've been out and about with a couple people. I've tried to meet girls for the first time, but I've got this complaint. Hey, I don't hook up with people on the first day, especially after COVID and with the holidays coming up. Now, is this something that they're just saying to not talk to me, or is this something that is common that Susan probably hears a lot? That's a pretty good question. So I wanted to make sure we brought that in.
So, Randy, what's he saying? What's he asking me?
I think what he's asking is based off of that is he's getting denied on the first time he's trying to talk to girls saying, oh, we don't like go home with guys because like COVID, I'm gonna make sure people have the vaccine and whatnot. So I think he's asking, is this just a common thing that he's hearing because he's not playing the game well? Or is this something that is a lot more girls are saying because they actually want to obviously make sure people stay healthy and safe?
Oh, gotcha. Okay. It's a combination of both of those things. You know, women really have to protect ourselves because men are very predatory and because we end up getting pregnant and because the STIs go around in addition to COVID. So we just have to be super protective. And so what I tell guys who are looking to meet women is use online dating. That's a good way to kind of cast a wide net and have some video meet and greets before you even show up anywhere and waste your time. You've got to qualify. You've got to decide what kind of a girlfriend you want. Do you want a girlfriend or do you want to just fuck around? Because those are entirely different scenarios. And I would just decide what's right for you. Generally, most men are just happy to have a girlfriend. They want a steady girlfriend that they really like. Not as many guys want to fuck around as you would think. But one of the things that I tell guys is it is really nice to meet women in real life. And one of the places to do it that shows that you're a quality man is to work in a philanthropy of some kind, whether it's building, homes for habitats for humanity, or working in a soup kitchen, or working in something where there will be other women around who are also contributing so that they can see what a good man you are. What women are looking for is a good man who's very capable and can do many things, who is willing to be loving and who has some ambition and is getting out in the world and doing things. That is a very irresistible man. So putting yourself in places where you can showcase those skills of yours and hone those skills of yours is a great way to meet super quality women who aren't going to just be pushing you off with those kinds of things because you're just going to be talking to them. You need to create opportunities to just be around women and just talk to them. That's, I think, the most helpful thing that I can tell you.
And I think you're right. What I would take from that is I think you're probably coming off maybe a little bit strong as well. And they're kind of getting some type of sense from you that it's not very genuine and you are in it for the sexual reasons, which again, that can be one thing. But if you're just trying to like go home with a girl, probably is going to be able to see through that and not going to want to just go home with you if that's the first time you guys have talked. So I think what you said is fantastic, Susan.
Needy vibe. You don't want to have a needy vibe.
No. It's cool. All right. We can continue on. This person preferred to be Jane Doe. So Jane said, hey, Randy, hopefully this was an okay question. I have small boobs and my boyfriend was talking about getting me a boob job. I would like one, but also if he buys it for me, what does this mean after the fact? If we break up, do I have to pay him back? Anything like that? You know, I would like bigger boobs. I'm not overly scared about small boobs, but it's something that we've talked about. Any thoughts from Susan would be appreciated.
Oh, yeah. I would recommend that you do not get a boob job. There is now a giant movement called explantation. Explants instead of implants, where women are getting they're getting all really sick and getting autoimmune diseases from their breast implants. I don't recommend it. What I recommend is two things. Number one, really work on your muscles on your chest and your back, not just the pecs themselves, but there's a lot of musculature underneath the breast tissue that can add some kind of like bulk and feel to your breast. And that'll make your boobs look a little bit bigger. And then wear a padded bra so that you like the way your clothes look on you. And then find a guy who's happy with exactly who you are and screw that guy that wants to give you a boob job and turn you into someone you're not. And be happy with who you are as a small breasted woman. You can run and jump and do things that big boobed women can't. And you are perfect and beautiful the way that you are. We want you strong and healthy. That's what's sexy to people who aren't warped.
I love that. And a follow-up question that I had off of that is like, if a guy came up to me and said, hey, Randy, I want to get a bigger chest, I would say, okay, hit a pec fly, hit a bench press, decline, incline bench. What would be some exercises for a girl if they wanted to do what you talked about?
Well, for sure, everything that you said. And I think a lot of those kind of side pulls with the elastic bands, with the resistant bands, are really good to get all of that breast tissue. Lats, all the back muscles, because they actually hold everything up and they pull everything up. So just a good set of chest and back and shoulder muscles is very attractive and very healthy, and it'll perk everything up a little bit and give you a little bit more subcutaneous volume.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you, Jane Doe, for that question. Okay. Based off of time, we'll go for two more. If that works for you, then we'll dive more into your background. So this question is from a John Doe. He said, hey, Randy, I listened to your podcast about dating apps. Thank you for your transparent experience. I'm not having any luck on dating apps. I can't even really get matches. So I'd love to listen to Susan about some best practices and tips for her about getting matches on dating apps.
Yeah, that's super easy. Your profile stinks.
I was going to go along the same line.
You need much better pictures. So you're going to have your friends take some good photos of you in good light. You have to groom yourself. It's like the number one thing women are looking for is a well-groomed man. And then they want him to be fun and they want him to be emotionally present and connected. That's what women look for in a partner. And so there's two things. The first is that I would ask your friends to tell you what they think it is that women would be attracted to about you. And then I would write what kind of a woman you're looking for and what you bring to the table and what your friends say your best attributes are. And between the explaining who you're looking for and what kind of relationship you want and what you bring to the table and what people like about you, plus good pictures, and don't hold up fish or any slimy things, no guns, and don't have your dog. If you have to have your dog in your picture, do not have them licking your face, because that's disgusting to a lot of us. So just some pretty simple things that I see all the time on the apps that are just, why people aren't appealing. It's like your profile stinks.
Yeah. I think the compound even further, I didn't talk about this in the podcast. My friend Ida and I sat down on the phone for 3 hours. She redid my profile for me. She's like, you need this picture, this is what you say. And having that girl's input, knowing what, as you just said, she's looking for, absolutely changed the game. I saw my matches exponentially increase just because of that. So if you have your guy friends, if you have girlfriends who can do it, please ask them. They would be very happy to help you out with that. Anything to add to that, Susan?
Perfect.
Perfect. Great. Then last question. This one is from a gentleman named Justin. So Justin, thank you so much. Justin said, hey, Randy, thank you for the opportunity. The question I have is, I'm not small, but I'm not big. And I look at porn stars and their dicks are really big. How do I feel more comfortable with myself? Because I feel like sometimes I get a little bit of stage fright when I'm with a girl. I think you may have answered that question a little bit earlier, but maybe diving this one in a different matter.
Oh, yeah. So you can enlarge your penis, and I'd recommend that you do that, especially if you're medium sized.
What's average for, say, a white male?
Like 5 inches, 4 3/4 to 5 1/4, probably right around in there. But there's a couple of things. So let's talk about penis enlargement for a second. There's nothing wrong with wanting a bigger dick. Just like Jane Doe was thinking about getting a boob job.
Mm-hmm.
We are confronted with this imagery all the time. And the great thing about penis enlargement is that it doesn't take any insertion of any stuff that is going to kill you. I recommend using a vacuum pump. And I specifically recommend using a pump called the Whopper, because it's the only vacuum erection pump or penis pump that does penis enlargement of both length and girth, because it's a 2-cylinder system. I wrote a book called The Pump Guide, and over 30,000 people have downloaded it. And I've supported over 3,000 men in using penis pumps correctly to gain both length and girth. So overall penile volume. And you can only get about 20 to 25% larger than what you are, but that is a considerable difference. So if you start out with 1 or 2 inches, you're only going to get so much bigger. If you start out with 4 or 5, you're going to get quite a bit bigger. And women generally don't want a penis any longer than about 6.5 to 7 inches at the most. Like the 7-inch penis for most women is like the holiday penis. That's the one they want to have sex with, just like on vacation. They don't want that on a regular basis, because women's vaginas are the same size as men's penises, right? Mm-hmm. We run in a range, but we like the girthiness because there are these proprioceptive, they're called mechanoreceptors on the opening to the vagina. The opening to the vagina is called the introital sphincter. I'm such a nerd. And the introital sphincter likes the pressure of the penis opening it up and coming inside the vagina. And when you're girthy, women really like that feeling of being opened by that girthy penis. And if you go to pumpingguide.com, I have exactly what to do and the schedule for pumping, the pump to use, how to pump, what to watch out for, how long to trap the blood in, whether you should be flaccid or erect when you start, all the millions of things, supplements that can help you improve your pumping and gain more girth, what to be careful of so that you don't damage yourself, bruise your penis, break your penis, give yourself Peyronie's disease, because dudes, they'll be like, well, if she says do it at a -2, I'm going to do it at a -12 because I can take it, and then they hurt themselves. And I'm like, okay, number one, here's my advice for men. When you're having sex, slow down. When you're pumping your penis, go lighter. I mean, it's just that you always want to do it faster, harder. You want the answer now. You're so goal oriented because of all that testosterone that you have that you just like cannot help yourself. So I'm always yelling at guys. But I really think that if you want to be bigger, why the heck wouldn't you? And penis pumping feels good. It keeps you from getting penile atrophy. You can do it at any age. It reverses erectile dysfunction. It keeps your dick healthy. What it does is it essentially increases the blood carrying capacity of the penile chambers, the 3 erectile penile chambers. And so, a few weeks into pumping, a good pumping routine, and you'll get out of the shower and catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror and be like, who dicked that? Like you will be so happy.
So I'm glad this question got asked, because I obviously seen like ads for it before, but I didn't know this was actually a real thing. And it's something that you're obviously very much advocating for. So it's interesting to hear that like it's something that now you just advocate for, you've seen results from as well.
With thousands of guys, because they trust me, because obviously I'm a straight shooter. And so many men asked me about it that I did a deep dive into the penis enlargement world. And what happens is most guys go to an adult store, they buy a cheap Chinese penis pump off Amazon. They use it wrong 3 times and go, this is a piece of shit, it doesn't work. And so I was like, let me stand for the quality product with the protocol that actually does work and help men out, because you have to be able to trust somebody out there. So that's why
I love that. So,
yeah.
Great. Justin, thank you for the question.
Yeah.
Susan, thank you for asking the questions. Just before we get to the second part of the podcast, people wanted to find you, ask more questions. Maybe they didn't feel comfortable, want to do something direct. How can people find you?
Yep. Lots of ways. I would say the way that I answer everybody's questions via email all the time. I mean, they always come in on the weekends. And so on Monday and Tuesday, I basically spend hours replying to people's emails. And then I feature them in my Sex Tips newsletter. And so people love to read, I remember the one I just wrote yesterday was, I was mortified when she put my penis in her mouth. The stories that everyone tells are so interesting. And so people love my newsletter because I'm always recanting the stories and re-explaining, writing them so they're readable, and then explaining my answer and solution to the problem. And so it's kind of a helpful hints from the sexy Heloise type of thing. So I will reply to any email that you reply to of mine and answer your questions. And you can get onto my email list at susanbratton.com. That's an easy way to get onto my email list. So that's how you can send an email to me. And then you can follow me on Instagram at Susan Bratton. And I have a whole website with tons of videos teaching all kinds of techniques, including how to pump your penis and stuff like that, at betterlover.com. So those are 3 great places to find me.
Awesome. And again, everything will be in the bio if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, etc. So thank you so much. So Susan, for the last 5 to 10 minutes here, I want to talk more about how you've turned this intimacy expert into an entrepreneurship, because we do have a lot of entrepreneurs who come on here and how they create something on that thing. And you said, you just kind of taught yourself and you created this whole empire. So just kind of a monologue in a different sense to ask you questions. For entrepreneurs out there who are trying to build something and they don't know where to start, how did you start, and how did you get yourself to not just being someone who maybe lives on the internet or writing books to getting on TV shows and really sharing the message of what you're doing?
Well, I didn't do it alone. First of all, my husband and I have been married for 30 years.
Congratulations.
And thank you. We started our company together 15 years ago. And I'm kind of the content expert, rainmaker, deal doer, big picture strategist. Not that he's not a strategist, but he's more of the finance, tech,
Mm.
infrastructure, manages the employees, trains run on time, everything gets done, everybody gets paid, everybody's happy person. So I'm really blessed that my business partner and life partner are one and the same, and he's amazing. So he is the wind beneath my wings. And really, I could never have achieved the success that we've achieved without the infrastructure that he provides. He is the platform on which my creativity can soar. So I'm very lucky that way. The second thing is that very early on when we started our company, we started with employees in the Philippines and India. So we didn't have any US employees. We just created our Filipino family and our Indian family, and we all work together and we all work on various tools. You know, we started out on Skype and then Slack and then Asana, and we just run our, oh, geez, I'm so sorry. That
Oh,
is a
good.
rookie
Good.
move.
Were they virtual assistants as well? Because we had some people come on talk about they got VAs in outside of the US, and it was a cheaper option for them to outsource some of their help.
I wouldn't call them VAs because I feel like in a way that's kind of demeaning. These are professionals, college educated professionals who've
Got it.
had careers, but they happen to live in other parts of the world. And we never treated them like VAs. We treated them like employees and like family.
Got it.
We're all in this together, and we take care of people, and they've been with us for 15 years, more than a decade. As a matter of fact, we recently lost our very first employee. He passed away from cancer in
Sorry to hear
India.
that.
I know. And, you know, when you've been around for a while, these things happen. But we've had a very stable, positive relationship where our team is just so capable, and they handle so many things for us, and they're so fun to work with, and we just all love to work together. We've been together for years creating this stuff.
You created a family.
We created a family.
Yeah.
That's how we always thought about our business. My husband and I call ourselves a 21st century mom and pop shop. And we just have a global perspective, and we believe that people have raw intelligence and goodness in their heart, and every employee has different skills and talents. And so we bring people in and we figure out what they're good at, and then that's the thing that they own. And when they're ready for more, we give them more. So we groom the people who want to be groomed to go higher, and we leave the people who are happy right where they are. And it just works out really, really well. It's been extremely satisfying.
So how many professional service people do you have today?
About a dozen.
A dozen. And obviously, as you said, around the world. So you have the help around the clock, answering emails as needed, getting content out there, everything that would go into running a day-to-day business. Say there's a small business all based in Encinitas, California.
Yes. Yeah, we really are digital nomads in a lot of ways, because we can travel and go anywhere and be anywhere and run our business, which I love because I love my freedom.
Yeah, and that's what Shazin came on. If you guys remember him, he goes by the billing entrepreneur. He's like, if you can make yourself a digital nomad and you can work from the back of a car, no matter where you're in the world, then you've made it, because you're not tied to a 9 to 5 or tied to an office. And obviously, Susan has talked about that she's able to do that. So a couple more questions for you, because I'm
Can I
very
say one more thing about that too, Randy?
Please.
One of the things that I think we also did really right was we have a lot of redundancy of jobs, where we have 3 people that can do any critical type of thing in our company, and someone owns it, but 2 other people know how to do it too. Because when people get ill or something is an issue and they need to take time off, they just get time off. And then everybody just fills in for them, so that when it's their turn and they need some time off, they have the time off and we support them. So I think that's also very, very important to think about, being a redundant healing system or team, if you will.
Yeah. And I mean, you're doing it from the perspective of helping them out, but from you as the business owner, you never have to worry about potentially one person out. The whole business operations has to stop, because you have 2 other people who can fill in the gap and make sure things are able to stay smoothly and continue forward.
Yes.
which is great. So now taking it from the opposite end, you talked about how you're able to build a business to be successful.
Yeah.
What were some key lessons you learned in your entrepreneurship journey that you or mistakes or were learning lessons, and that you go back to people and say, hey, this is something that you could do different and that will help you continue to grow forward?
The first thing that I would do is I would not go into the sex niche,
Oh,
because
really?
yeah,
Okay.
everybody thinks that's so easy. But remember, in the beginning, I said only 15 out of 100 people even want to do anything about their sexuality. And then of those, people who would actually take action or buy a program or what have you is much smaller.
Mhm.
But also, publishers don't like sexuality. They're constantly shutting down people's Instagrams. It's hard to advertise on, you can't advertise on Facebook. I mean,
Mm.
basically, I can do Google search. It's very difficult to scale my business and get traffic to my offers, if you will, all of my sex techniques programs. So that was a big mistake, was that my passion is passion. I wish I'd gone into something else, but I love it. We do it because we love it. We care. And you can tell the difference between somebody who's really in the business to help people because it's their passion. And I think that's one of the reasons we've been so successful, is that our content is it's just so smart and consistent, and it's constantly evolving. And it also makes people feel both inspired, and it also makes them feel like they're not alone.
Hmm.
Because so many people get shamed around their desire and their wanting of intimacy and connection and passion, by their partners, by their family, by their religion, by the society, by the misinformation of the media and porn, and they feel lonely. And so I think we are like a safe harbor for a lot of people, where they feel like, oh, these people are like me, they get me. So I think that has been good. But the one thing that really got us in trouble was we had a burn rate that was too high for the revenue we were bringing in. And it looked like we were going to do so well. We were so close and so close and so close. We weren't there yet, and we should have cut our expenses. We had to sell our house and take a hard money loan and move into a rental. And what we never stopped, it doubled our resolve to be successful. And ultimately, we were able to turn a profit and then buy a home again and reestablish ourselves. So, I'm 60, so I was 45 when we started the business. So it's been 15 years, but we've only been successful for not even half of that. We were struggling for the first half, and that's a long time to struggle.
Yeah. And that's something that, again, when you look at today, you want to know that backstory. So one, I thank you for sharing that. And I think that also just gives people ideas, like, it's not going to be roses and easy. Like, you're going to go through the ups and downs. And
Yeah.
I mean, with my Leap of Faith LLC, I'm definitely not turning a profit with this. I'm barely making any money, but I'm putting a bunch of money in, as you said, for how do I do advertising? How do I get people to help me if I need the help, and do that? Because in the long run, the ultimate goal is to turn that profit and to make that be successful. So I completely understand where you're coming from. Now, my other question for you based off of that is, if you didn't go into the sex industry, intimacy industry, what do you think it would have been?
I think a good business for me would have been anti-aging and longevity, the biohacking part of the business, because I do like that too. I'm kind of a nerd around sexual biohacking, but I'm also a personal biohacker.
I mean, you
And
do
I
look very good.
know,
Not trying to hit on you, but like you when you say you're 60, I would not believe it.
good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I really try to do a ton of things to keep myself in great shape, clear thinking, operating at a high level, etc. So it pays off. That stuff adds up. And I do really talk about anti-aging and longevity, because so much of, well, our health and our sexual health are two sides of the same coin. Our libido is directly tied to how healthy we are. When
Mm.
you have good health, you have a high libido. When you have bad health, you have a low libido. But also, I mean, is your skin radiant? Are you vibrant? Do you look fuckable? Do you,
Yeah.
all that stuff comes from staying ageless. And because sex keeps getting better as you get older, if you take care of your health, it all goes hand in hand. So really, I started out with sexuality, but I talk a lot about biohacking generally as well. The benefits of intermittent fasting and senolytics and things like that. I mean, senolytics is a whole new category of turning on autophagy and getting rid of the zombie cells, the dead cells, the SASP cells that are in your body. So you get more mitochondrial growth and more cellular rejuvenation. I think that's a really interesting area that I will continue to explore and bring to my followers because they want to look sexy.
Yeah, which is great. That's a whole probably separate podcast we could dive into in the future session.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Susan, as we get to the last part here, just final part for the Leap of Faith audience, if there was 1-2 takeaways from everybody, what would that be that you want people to leave with?
I'd like to give you a technique to end
Please.
the show. And this comes from one of my top selling books, Sexual Soulmates, The 6 Essentials to Connected Sex. A lot of the things that we've been talking about with your questions from your listeners, and thank you so much for getting all those questions. It was really nice. You put me in the right, doing a Q&A like that was a really good thing to do with me because I'm a sex advice person, right? So you just nailed it, Randy. Thank you. I really felt honored for you to just hammer me with questions. That's like my favorite thing in the world. And what I see for people who crave that passionate connection with their lover is that often what's holding people back is not necessarily the techniques themselves, but communication. And in the 6 Essentials to Connected Sex, Sexual Soulmates is how to turn a date or your mate into your sexual soulmate, because I believe that you can really get good with your partner in bed together. No matter where you are now, you can become sexual soulmates. These are learned skills. And one of the most important ones is communication. And what happens is that partners are either afraid to ask for what they want because they're embarrassed about it, or they don't want to make their lover feel bad and get their ego hurt and contract when they say something. Or they think to themselves, well, I don't know what I want. I just know what I'm getting isn't it. So I'm not really going to correct them because I can't really tell them what I want. I don't know. I'll just go with what's happening. And so we end up not having communication. And what I like to do is I like to make it so that lovers can say anything at any time and blurt it out. And the other partner's like, got it, babe. Thank you. How's this? Any better? How does it feel now? Do you want it lighter still? Do you want it harder? Whatever it is. Oh, you want to do that? Oh, you've got a dirty fantasy? Okay, tell me. I want to hear it. It's not going to hurt me. And one of the things that's nice about really being comfortable communicating anything and everything is that it deepens your intimacy and connection. It makes you better lovers. You feel more relaxed and comfortable because you know where you stand all the time. If there's something wrong, you're going to know it. You'll be the first to know because I'm just going to tell you. And once you get to that point, and it takes a little practice because the natural human response when you get feedback initially is contraction. But then if you just recognize and let that go, I mean, great sex is a mindfulness practice. It's a mindfulness practice to stay present with your lover. It's a mindfulness practice to let go those things like egoic responses. I mean, that's just a part of the process of sexual maturation and deepening your connection. So the Sexual Soulmate Pact, you can download it at Sexual Soulmate Pact, PACT.com, like an agreement. And I've written it such that you can print it out. It's a PDF. You can print it out. It's just a couple pages long. And you can basically discuss with each other and make this agreement that you'll do it and support each other in holding yourselves to the agreement till you get the practice that you start to just feel super comfortable saying anything. And one of the interesting things about it is that going back to what I was talking about on the masculine and feminine side of things, it doesn't matter who's the masculine and who's the feminine. One of you is usually a little more masculine, a little more feminine, and you could be switchy. That's even better too. But when the feminine says what she needs and the masculine thanks her, when she does not have to use manners, because like sex is a mindfulness practice, you're actually in your theta brainwave state, which is the same brainwave state of meditation when you're making love, when you're deeply in your orgasmic connection with each other, when the world falls away and it's just the two of you or the three of you or the four of you or whatever it is, then you don't want to have to get out of the theta brainwave state and get in your good girl or good boy, please and thank you state. What you want to do is you want to be able to say, oh, baby, you're on my hair, or down more, or harder. Don't stop till I say so. I'm just going to lie here while you give it to me, or whatever it is that you need to say. That is really, really nice when you don't have to use your manners and get in your beta brainwave state. You stay in your theta, you just blurt it out, and your partner's like, got it, baby. Okay. And in the beginning, when they encourage you, when you say something to your partner and give them feedback and they say, thank you, and then they just adjust and they didn't contract and they encourage you to give them feedback, boy, does that make all the difference. The feminine especially needs encouragement, and the masculine needs to know that he's doing a good job. It's very important to him to be recognized for his excellent work. And that sexual soulmate pact creates the agreement that makes all that work really well, so your sex gets really hot and juicy.
Yeah, I need 5 right now. But that was good. And I think to sum that up as well, again, it comes down to communication. That's the key thing we always say, whatever aspect of your life, if it's sex, if it's a relationship, if it's your friendship, if you're trying to speak to your boss, having that open line communication where you feel comfortable to be able to share what is on your mind and what is going on will only make the situation better and improve whatever you're trying to deal with. Yeah. I love that. Susan, thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate your time
today.
One last time, just if people want to find you, how can they reach out to you?
Just Google Susan Bratton, SUSAN BRATTON, like the brat that weighs a ton, but doesn't really.
No, she's in shape. She works out every day. Again, my name is Randy Silver. This is The Leap of Fate. Thank you for listening to our intimacy expert, Susan, on this week. Please go like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that good. Leap of Fate fans, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you guys want more crowdsourced subjects, stuff like this, again, thank you for all the questions y'all provided. Please let me know. Susan, please do the sign off with me. So repeat after me. Stay healthy.
Stay healthy.
Stay wealthy.
Stay wealthy.
Have a good week, fans.
And have a good week, fans.
Deuces.
Deuces.